Hey, let's talk about Agatha and go through some of the highlights, starting with episode 1. There are some, I'll give you sort of the broad strokes. We're not going to go point by point story wise, but it starts off as we find a dead body in the forest, and Agatha shows up as a police detective in a small town, has to solve the murder of this person who has been killed. We don't know how. He is a police detective, hardened, has trouble with, of course, her main superior, idiot white guy, to be clear. And it is soon revealed she's been under a spell. She's not really a police detective. And Aubrey Plaza, as this character, the Rio Vidal, mysterious antagonist, adversary, rival, we don't know. Agatha has lost her power in a short battle with Rio, played by Aubrey. It ends with her awakening. She awakens completely naked and talks to one of her neighbors from WandaVision. She is full nude.
Well, there's a butt flash. It's a butt flash. It's a butt flash.
We see her bare bottom, and she awakens and realizes she must go on a journey. Alan, continue.
Yeah. Well, okay. So here's what you're missing.
I missed a couple things.
Yeah. Well, the big thing is this takes place right after the events of WandaVision. She doesn't wake up as a detective. She's in a detective procedural show.
That's right. She's in the show.
Okay. And Rio is the one who breaks her out of the show and brings her back to reality, to Westview, where WandaVision took place, and to the neighbor she had. Okay, so episode 1. In any television series, episode 1 is the episode that lays everything out and tells you why you need to see this show. And at the end of episode 1, the conclusion is clear. You don't need to see the rest of the show. This whole episode serves as the homage to WandaVision. This is just another chapter of WandaVision. The problem is in WandaVision, why we liked WandaVision was because each episode was a take on a classic television show that we all loved and watched. This one is a take on like a true detective show. And the problem is that in WandaVision, because it was based on a sitcom, it was funny, it was light, you could have lame jokes and things like that. And if you're gonna do the same thing with a true detective show, the episode needs to be deadly serious. But this show, especially in this first episode, doesn't know what it wants to be. Does this episode want to be a true detective show, or does it want to be one of the yuck comedies from WandaVision? And it can't make a decision, and so therefore, whatever path it decides to go is going to be bland, and is going to be uninteresting. And that's what happens here. And I'll give you the reason why this episode does not work, and I'll blame the director, because the director is the one who has to manage the tone of the show. Because Catherine Hahn, as this detective, there are moments where she is dramatic and acts like a detective from a true detective show. But then at certain times, she acts she overacts. Like, slams a paper down in the investigation room.
She's really unlikable, too.
Yeah, she's over the top cop.
She's an a-hole to everybody. And it's like, after a while, you're like, so this is the lead character I'm supposed to like?
Yeah. And then half the supporting characters in the episode are serious actors who would appear in a true detective show. The other half are goofballs who would appear in a parody of a true detective show. For example, her boss, the chief, a total dimwit.
Right.
And played as a total dimwit. And so right off the bat, you're just wondering what is this show about? am I supposed to take this show seriously? It's doing, for those who are gonna seal clap and say, "Oh, but they're doing a parody of a True Detective show." No, they're just doing a lame version of a True Detective show. And for people who are gonna like this episode are the ones who are conditioned to like anything Marvel does or anything Catherine Hahn does. But this is a badly directed and a badly written episode, with an ending that we all knew was coming because it's in the trailer, and it's just a waste of time. And again, this episode 1, its sole goal is to make you want to go to episode 2, and it fails right off the bat.
Let's move on to episode 2. The character of Teen is brought in, who is kind of this sounds weird. Teen, played by Joe Locke, is like an Agatha superfan. Does that seem accurate?
Yeah, which begs a lot of questions.
He's kind of like we don't know his name. So Joe Locke comes in and you see him. It's kind of a cool effect. He asks his name. He goes to say it. He cannot say his name. He's under a spell.
A sigil.
A sigil.
Sigil.
Right. So he can't say his name. So she just calls him Teen and sort of orders him around like a Gen Z kid, like, do this for me. Come over here. And episode 2, she's on a journey, like a Seven Samurai style, to collect other witches to form a coven to go on the witch's road.
Yeah. So for Agatha to get her powers back, she has to go on the witch's road, a journey. And at the end of the journey, she'll get her powers back. But she can't go on that journey unless she has a coven. And the episode is her gathering it. We talk about queer baiting, about just needing to establish that Teen is gay. So him and Agatha are in a car. His cell phone rings. He looks at the cell phone. It says boyfriend. She says, "Who is that?" He says, "No one." There we go. He's gay.
Right. That's it. That's how they show that he's gay. It's kind of,
yeah. And in fact, nothing else in the rest of this episode. And I would say even through episode 4, the knowledge that he's gay, it means nothing.
Right.
Nothing.
I mean, but by the way the character talks and acts,
he's gay.
I don't want to say that there is necessarily a gay accent, but he sounds like someone who's effeminate gay. So would I be wrong in saying it that way?
No. And there's a documentary about the gay accent. That's very interesting to watch. Yeah, let's see. So in witchcraft, you have to have a coven, but a very specific coven. What I have here is you have you need a divination witch, you need a potion witch, you need a protection witch, and you need a green witch. And this is to me where things start falling apart, because the general audience doesn't know anything about witchcraft. And I don't think Jack Schaefer knows.
I include myself.
Yeah.
It seems like these rules, they have to explain every rule. It's not organic. It's a lot of sitting around a kitchen talking, sitting in a living room talking.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talking.
But these rules are set to establish the narrative to where we're going next. It's not like we built a world and the world, these are the rules. The rules are needed as necessary. For example, the reason why you need a divination witch, potion, protection, and green witch, because you need a diverse cast.
They literally have, you've got Catherine Hahn, and then you've got like
Patti
LuPone. I mean, they have white witch, black witch, Asian witch, played by Ali An.
Yeah.
Alice. No, it's Ali An she's the
Asian witch.
She plays Alice Wu Gulliver.
Yeah.
Then there's Patti LuPone plays Lilia Calderu, and then Mrs. Hart, Deborah Jo Rupp, is like a gardener, like she's the
next door neighbor.
Yeah.
And then she's not even a witch. They just kind of bring her along for comic effect.
Yeah.
And then when Aubrey Plaza, if she eventually shows up, she would be the Latino witch.
Well, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
So then the episode 2 ends with, guess what? It's the episode 3 of The Acolyte is episode 2. They have to sing a song to open the road. It's not an actual road, so they sing like down, 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 down the witch's road, and it's filled with all this sort of whatever. It's as insufferable as the power of one, the power of two, the power of many. So I can't believe that not only is it two Disney things you hear like the lesbian witches, but it's also they have songs to sing.
Yeah.
So we get a song in episode 2.
Yeah, and here's the thing: at D23, they sing the song. We may have seen the clips. They sing it in this episode, and maybe they sing it again. I don't know, but the thing is they're pushing real hard to make this song a thing, to make this the next Disney anthem, and it's not. Except for the chorus, the "Down the Witch's Road," which is the title. I don't remember a single thing about this song.
Okay, let me be clear. When since we're talking lesbian witches, when they say going down the witch's road, what do you think that might be code for? If you're going down the witch's road, what are you going to do? Do you hear me? It seems so like it's not coded. It's obvious going down the witch's road. What is being said here? Am I wrong, Alan?
Let me just say this. Let me tell you why I'm a good person. Because I had never thought of that until you brought it up.
How am I a bad person?
You are a disgusting man.
Okay. So they sing the song at the end of the episode. They go down the road, which is basically not a road. A little door opens up and they go down a flight of stairs into an evil forest in episode 3. And then episode 3 and 4, effectively what they're doing is going to escape rooms. So in episode 3, they go to a house where everything is soft, muted beige colors.
Yeah, let me address that because because this is a parallel to WandaVision, because each house has a theme that
they have a trial.
Is transformed. So this is kind of like 60s deco.
No, that's 4.
Deco. What?
That's 4.
Yeah, that's right.
Episode 3. So what they're doing, going down the witch's road, they have to confront trials. The first house is a like basic house with cream colors, beige colors. So their wardrobe changes when they go to each house, which is such a, I mean, they're all enamored with it. Look at my new wardrobe. We're all in these beige colors. We have different hairdos. It's very
it's very like Frank Lloyd Wright.
Yeah.
It's the big bouffant hair and the beige and the very stylistic house.
The styles. So they go in and what do they find? A bottle of wine. When you're wearing muted cream colors, there's always a danger, right? If you're wearing white and you're drinking wine, you might spill some red wine. So they drink wine and are poisoned and must somehow, break the spell of the poison. They figure it out.
Yeah, it's an escape room.
It's an escape room. And then we get to episode 4 and they go into this like you said, Frank Lloyd Wright house, 1960s. They're all redressed as like rock and rollers.
Yeah.
It's a
Austin
different
Powers.
type. What?
Like Austin Powers.
Like a 60s, Austin Powers, rock and roll. You have to play a song at the end. It's another escape room. These trials are a series of escape rooms. And episode 4 ends with, we're giving broad strokes, folks. So to speak.
Because you're about to get really specific with this one.
So then we get to in episode 4, Aubrey Plaza's character Rio and Agatha have a moment. They get right up to they're about to kiss. There is hot lesbian attraction energy here, which gets interrupted, whatever. But
by the task at hand.
Yes, by the task at hand. but is this what the show is going to be in episodes 5 through, I don't know how many episodes are there?
9 episodes.
9. So are we going to get now escape rooms for the following episodes? The episodes are, by the way, 40 minutes, about 30 minutes when you cut the
ending
previously
credits.
on, and the credits are long. So that's what episode 4 is. Another trial involving they each have to play rock songs, and they don't just play a tune. They play the whole song. You can see how proud they are of the wardrobe, of the design of the house, of the music. It's
the rock interpretation of the song.
It's very leaning into the intended audience, which, as I said,
is not
not us. What do you think of episode? Episode 3 and 4 are very similar. 3 and 4 are very similar.
Yeah,
because there's
again, everything that happens, every little step, every next step, is done for the sake of narrative. You go from A to B to C, and again, we're not world building here. We're not world building. We're just creating a reason to go to the next step in the story. Like in episode 3 comes the potions witch, which is played by Sashir Zameda. She has to create a potion. If there's ever, twice, if there's ever a problem that need to be solved, a potion. And then she has to go get ingredients. Well, what ingredients can you get? Well, again, we'll just make it up on the spot. Eye of Newt. Literally, she has to get Eye of Newt. She has to go get all these things. And again, the reason I'm not connected to this at all is because I don't understand this world. It's just being presented to me, and it makes no sense.
Yes, they never did world building with this to tell you what the rules are. That's why it feels like it's all being made up on the spot. Then they need like a pluck of hair of each of their hairs to throw in the potion. It's just like you're not invested because you don't know what the stakes are.
Yeah. And then if we go back to the interview with Jack Schaefer on the red carpet about this being the gayest series ever, she talks about sisterhood. She talks about love and all that stuff. That's the themes of these escape rooms and how they solve it. If I'm going to spoil episode 3, the issue was teamwork, that everyone had to drink the poison. And if one person didn't, then there was consequences for everyone else. That's the moral of that episode.
And then also when they drink the wine in episode 3, their faces get like someone who's had too much plastic surgery.
Yeah, and that's the comedy. That's the comedy part of this.
That's the comedy part.
Mm-hmm.
So, look, I don't know that we'll review the whole series. We'll probably, maybe when we get to episode 5.
If it hits Acolyte bad, we'll keep talking about it.
Well,
I know.
I don't know. It's not. Here's the thing. It is not going to be as bad as The Acolyte. Here's why. This series is siloed. It's its own little adventure in its own little world. Mm-hmm. It has no repercussions on legacy characters like, ones we care about. So I don't think this show is going to matter in the end. I don't think it's going to matter.
The reason this show isn't lore breaking is because there's no lore to break.
Right. It's all made up bullshit.
Yeah. It's so siloed from Marvel. This isn't Marvel. It's Hocus Pocus 3.
So it's going to be like boring, and probably the reaction will be who cares? Not as bad as the damage of The Acolyte to Star Wars as a brand.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know why they didn't drop all the episodes in one day.
Because they wanted to end it on Halloween.
Right. So here it is. I expect episode 5 will be another clever escape room, just like episode 3 and 4. So there you go.
Here's the thing. The reason the show, and I mentioned it before, doesn't work is because there's nothing new about it. This seems to be a step back in terms of quality writing. Look, you can go back to Star Trek, the original series. that's the show in the sense of, there's a mission. They go to a planet and they bring up an issue about humanity, and they use this planet to kind of explore that issue as it relates to us as people. And we're engaged with the idea and the philosophy, or the idea and the moral question that it asks. And so us as an audience, we're engaged in that. And that's why Star Trek endured as long as it was. This show attempts to do something like that, but the writer just doesn't know how to pull that off. And we have a show like this. It tries to say something and says nothing in the process.